Hello once again. I'm Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine. Tonight we're reviewing Other from director David Moreau. He's the director behind Them, The Eye, and Mads with a capital S. Is that Mad S? I don't know. But let's get going on this review.
Gruesome Magazine.
Joining me tonight is my guest host, Paul Cardullo. Welcome back. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, Doc. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. I'm excited to talk about this film.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Just so a reminder for everybody listening, this review will be spoiler free. And there are spoilers in this one.
Oh yeah.
All right. Before we dive into the review, we just want to remind you to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Every little click will help us find more fans just like you. And if you hit that bell, you get notifications.
Ding ding ding.
Ding, ding, ding. All right. All right. Let's just dive into this one, shall we? Boom. There you go. Directed, like I said, by David Moreau. The cast includes, and these are names I'm going to butcher, so forgive me. Olga Kurylenko. I think that's not too bad, but it might be.
To me. Yeah.
But she's most genre fans will remember her if you are into superhero films. She played Taskmaster in Black Widow and briefly in Thunderbolts. Other cast is Gene Schatz. Yeah, I'm not going to try that again. And Lola Bonaventure. Or Bonaventure. I don't know. I should know these things, but I don't know. Somebody smack me. All right, synopsis. There's a line. Paul, you have to get in line.
Oh.
All right. The synopsis is Alice returns to her childhood home after her mother's death, only to find her house is rigged with surveillance, tracking her every move as a sinister presence lurks, driving her toward a terrifying revelation. All right, let's get into this, Paul. Why don't you let me know what was your first impression of this movie as we watched it and sat there and looked at each other going,
Yeah, I really liked it a lot. I think it's great because it was one of those ones where you feel like you're figuring things out, and you kind of do, but you don't. You think you would? I mean, I think it's because we only go into spoilers, but it's like, oh, I think it's because I said to you during part of it, like, oh, it's blah 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 blah. And like, see, it was like, oh, it was like, wait, oh, wait, and it's one of those ones where everything makes a lot of sense and knits together really well, I think, in the end. And you think you kind of have it, and you might not have the real full story that you think you do, which makes it really satisfying. I think the synopsis is a little off because, I mean, the cameras play into it, but I don't think there is. It makes it sound like it's something a little different than it is. But I thought it was really well done, and it definitely entertained. Like you're constantly paying attention because you're trying to figure out. It's always kind of surprising you a little bit in terms of what's going on. How about you, Doc?
Yeah, I enjoyed this one quite a bit, which we tend to watch movies back to back. When we had Jan, so we watched a really kind of comedy horror, but horror comedy. It was heavier on the horror, but it had comedy. So going into this, I was a little worried that I would be in the wrong vibe, but I quickly got into it, and what I really enjoyed about this is I thought I had it all worked out.
Yeah.
And it still surprised me. I wasn't entirely wrong.
Yeah.
But I was still surprised. I also really enjoyed the cast, especially Olga. I'm not going to say her last name again. But I thought she did a great job, and she led this film very well. And there's also some really cool choices with camera work in here. We'll dive into that a little bit here in a minute. But overall, I really enjoyed it. But let's get into some of the finer points. I want to talk about some of the camera choices. And I don't think we're going to give too much away by this, but if you notice, and they even do it with the poster.
Yeah.
And it's obscuring faces. Of course, our lead is full on face all the time. but it was an interesting choice, and you don't realize it at first, but then you slowly start picking up on it, and then it's like I think I spent like 10 or 15 minutes in the beginning watching to see if all the faces were obscured. And I found that to be a fascinating choice that really helps the narrative.
Oh yeah, it fits really, and again, it's not real obtrusive. I mean, a lot of times it's just and it's not like like you might see somebody from you'll see just the side of their face, so you're not
Mhm.
seeing. It's not that it's like it's blank or you can't see anything. It's just more like she's the focus.
Mhm.
Part of it going she's the focus, but it also does. It's going to fit into the wider narrative without
Yep.
giving anything away. And that poster is really cool because at one point there's a security camera that is the screen is cracked. And
Right.
so people actually kind of appear on when she's looking at the screen, talking to somebody through the security camera. The screen is like that, so it's neat. It's kind of it's done. It's multiple different ways that they do it too. So
Yep.
it doesn't seem too strained in which they do it. It seems very natural. And like you said, it takes you a little bit because I think it was like a few minutes in before we looked at each other and said, "Hey, wait a second."
I know.
And it's after a couple of their characters like, "Wait a second, I think this is what they're doing with this." And it works really well and it fits really well with the story. So yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought that was really a great choice.
Right. And she gets stuck in a house in a very inventive way.
Yes. Yes.
It's like a series of errors, but not choices. Like she didn't make bad choices, just really bizarre accidents happen along the way, and they may or may not be accidents by the time they.
Right, right.
But
And she figures out some clever ways around it too.
yes, yes,
They're like, oh man, yeah. So it's really clever.
yeah. So I really enjoyed that as well. Yeah, the movie had me. It gripped me, and I was paying attention to the whole movie, and that's a feat in a lot of
Oh
films.
yeah.
Not to because you're tempted to stop and look at your phone or something, or run off and go grab some snacks and not worrying about pausing the film when you're doing. But this one, I was glued to it. So it's there are flaws, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I think it's far more a success than it is a failure. I do want to talk about one more thing before we get into our scores and everything. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
there is, as described in the synopsis, a presence.
Yeah.
And we're just going to label it the presence. This is spoiler free, so we're not going to talk and explain what the presence is. But I want to get your impression of the presence and how that presence was handled throughout the film.
Oh, I thought it was really well done. I think again, it's one of those ones where you feel you figured it out. They give you enough to kind of feel you figure it out. And you, like you said, I think you go. It's nice because you're kind of satisfied. You're like, well, I figured it out, but I didn't figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I missed. I misunderstood. I think it was I mean, and you're like, what's kind of cool is what you think is very close to what it may be, but it's really well done the way they handle the presence. And I think at the very end is because it's at the conclusion of the film. I don't know. We kind of talked about how satisfying the conclusion is. I really liked it. It was not what I thought it was going to be,
Right.
but I could see other people. I mean, I think were you wanting a little more? How did you feel on that? That kind of just the conclusion because it involves that.
Right. I was satisfied with it, but I see I see where you're going with this. That
Yeah.
there are going to be a number of people that come out, kind of feeling that it left something on the table or something. But it didn't quite have that boom impact that you want to film. It's a but I liked it, and I really liked the presence. I liked how they kept it out of sight for
Oh yeah.
great deal. I mean, it was like great deal of the film. You just see shadows and indications of it, and on top of that, our protagonist, she's a vet, right?
Yeah.
So she has, and it feels like it might be a creature. And there's even a print that she tries to figure out what it is. And it's really interesting how that plays out.
Yeah.
And as and the more she discovers, you also find out more about how this presence interacts with the house and how it, the meaning behind it. So I thought they would, I guess the end of that is that the structure of this and the reveal is really strong. It's really well done.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. There's one like I think there was one character we said were they just kind of there for exposition, which was handled a little clunkily, but I'm not sure how she could do that to fit it in story wise with the story they wanted to tell. So it was a little bit of I wasn't sure, but I'm not sure a better way to have done that. I think.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. I both liked and disliked that element.
Yes,
which is really strange. I mean, because there are times when it really works.
Yeah.
And there's other times where it feels forced, and that's unfortunate because that is kind of one of the things that keep me from rating this one really high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. But speaking of rating, let's dive into that. What is your score, 1 to 5, for Other?
Well, I'm gonna actually rate it pretty high, but like you said, there is the little keeping it down just a little bit. I'm gonna still give it a 4.25 because I think it was because I liked it a lot. I really thought it was really well structured. They did, like you said, some really inventive things.
Mm-hmm.
They kept my attention the whole time. It was fun because it made you feel kind of smart because you kind of figured it out, but it still surprised you because you didn't really. So, and that was fun as my face kind of got obscured from the background.
You did.
The movie. So, so I really liked that. I thought they did real well. On technical level, I thought the lead, she did a great. Olga did a fantastic job because she kind of had to carry most of it. Like I said, there's this little clunkiness that pulls it a little bit down, kept me from giving it like a 4.5 because I really enjoyed it. So I said 4.25. So I'll give it a good strong 4.
Oh, you enjoyed it a lot more than I did.
So what do you think, Doc? What was yours?
I was giving it a 3.75.
Hey, I can see it.
Yeah, and it's just some of the flaws just irked me a bit. But at the end, there's a few things. I might not be giving enough credit now that I'm thinking about it because there's a couple of things toward the end that are incredibly inventive and will stick with me.
Yeah.
One involves speak and say or see and say. I forget what.
Oh yeah, the speak and spell. Yeah.
Speak and spell. Yeah. So there's really some interesting stuff. There is some repetition.
Yeah.
And some of the characters don't entirely make sense.
Yeah, true.
But in the end, I agree with you. I think I think people will enjoy this film. And the title is going in, that feels kind of like, okay, this isn't really a title for this film, but by the end you realize it really is a good title for this film.
Oh, I think it's really good, and I think it gives you some ideas that may or may not be,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's our review for Other, coming to Shudder in October. Check it out, and we'd love to hear your comments down below. Right?
Yep.
All right. With that, let's say goodnight.
Good night, Doc. Good night, everybody.